Hi, it's Jen from modernmedicinelady.com and the Empathic Woman System, and happy Valentine's Day. So the word of the day is pamper, and I choose this word because it is Valentine's Day, and it is a good day to just go that extra mile when it comes to self-care and self-love, and just giving ourselves that little bit of extra love, attention, appreciation, acknowledgement that we need, and to take some time to pamper ourselves. And I was thinking about a conversation that I was participating in with a couple other people where we were talking about this idea of when self-care becomes a reward as opposed to just something that we put into our day-to-day routine. And how incredibly important it is to not wait for an excuse to take care of ourselves, to not wait for a reason to pamper ourselves, and especially to not feel like we have to earn the right to pamper ourselves. And what I have found again and again in my life is that when I hold my breath and I put off self-care and I put off pampering myself, that is almost always when everything else sort of starts to come to a grinding halt, and it actually affects my bottom line. Like, I have noticed over the years that when it comes to my capacity to receive money, if I'm not pampering myself in the basic ways, eating good food and taking good care of my body and, just maybe taking a nice long soak in the bathtub. I'm not talking about extravagance. I'm just talking about self-love and self-care. That what I find is that kind of cutting myself off from those basics and not giving myself permission to receive that kind of yumminess often ends up turning out or coming out in ways where all of a sudden I just tend to make less money than I normally do. And I mean, obviously, if you're not self-employed, this may not be quite as obvious, but for a self-employed person, think about it. Have you ever noticed that when you start restricting, when you start feeling like, oh my God, I have to wait until I get XYZ done, or I have to wait until I've got more money to do this, that you notice that it's almost like it becomes this vicious cycle where this sense of scarcity and lack just keeps on building on itself. And what I have noticed again and again is that when I choose to break that cycle and I say, okay, even though maybe things aren't working quite the way I'd hoped they would be working right now, I'm going to pamper myself anyway, I'm going to take care of myself anyway, more often than not, that's when, at least for me, it kind of breaks the cycle. Now, when I'm talking about this, I am not talking about compulsive shopping. I'm not talking about like you're in a state of anxiety and fear about money, and so you go out and you spend a ridiculous amount of money on something that you don't need and you really can't afford. But I'm talking about things like deciding to go and get a massage. I'm talking about things like going and getting really good food for yourself, and even going and buying flowers for yourself. Doing the kinds of things that are going to nourish you and nurture you and help you to feel good and healthy. So the stuff that's going to reinforce your strength, your health, and your well-being, not necessarily something that's just about sort of a material reward. So I'm not necessarily saying go out and buy a bunch of bling or go and buy a brand new wardrobe, as much as I'm saying pamper yourself with the things that will nourish you and will support and care for you. So my question to you right now is, have you been pampering yourself, or are you waiting for an excuse to do it? Is there something that you are like, I will pamper myself when XYZ happens? And what would it look like if you decided to just give yourself permission to love yourself anyway? What would it look like if you decided to just take a step towards that self-love and that self-care right now, instead of waiting for whatever it is that you've got as the requirement to start earning that self-care? So I'd love to hear what you have to say. Please leave an answer below. And until next word of the day, I'm wishing you peace and ease and the willingness to really pamper yourself today. And in the meantime, if you haven't already done it, please go like my YouTube channel, Jennifer Moore, Modern Medicine Lady, and pass this message along to other highly sensitive, empathic people who could find this useful. Thank you so much for helping me spread the word. And until next word, peace.